Very good day, everybody. My name's Callum from DX Commander, and a couple of years ago, it was about 12 months ago, I fitted two receive loops. Okay, so the first loop is in my antenna field. That goes around 90 metres, it's measured at. And that has a 4-to-1 balun, because that's what I had knocking around. It just so happens I get perfect tune on the 60 metre band on that one, but whatever. So that's the big loop. Now, I've got a number of factories just opposite the antenna field that the landlord rents out to me for my antenna experiments, and there's some trees between my antenna field and the factories. So I thought for a loop on the ground, right, and I'll explain what that is in a minute, I could fit that hidden under the leaves, under the canopy. All right, so that works very well. Now, I got a great video for you because I'm going to let you hear the difference between a straight vertical, a large loop, and a small loop. Okay, so the vertical is effectively my transmit antenna, and the two other loops, two other antennas, I use to at will when I'm using my radio. Sometimes the vertical is better, sometimes the small loop's better, sometimes the big loop's better. But let me just explain, if you've got a spare run of cheap coax, it doesn't need to be expensive, out to the backyard, out to the garden, you could either do a dipole on the ground. This is actually going on about a phase dipole to give you directions. But you can use a dipole, just lay it on the ground, and in reality, any old length. You will need a choke, okay, so that the coax doesn't become part of the receiver and picking up more noise, and it'll defeat the object. However, KK5JY, he started looking at loops on the ground. Don't know where he got his inspiration from, it doesn't really matter, but he started looking at loops on the ground and how they work, and he discovered that the best match is using it's like a tiny pair of binoculars, okay, with some windings through, and as the transformer, and that gave quite a good match to around at about 50 ohms of coax, or 75 ohm coax. Doesn't really matter too much, but it's a good little isolator as well, so it isolates the antenna from the coax. So I got mine from this man, lmkts.com, and I did a swap. I think he had a pole or something, and I got his loop on the ground. Now, I didn't need the wires. I got plenty of wires knocking around. I just bought the little bit only. You can see it under my leaves here in the forest. You literally can't see it. In fact, I just smothered the whole thing in Vaseline. The Vaseline is still there, actually, because I was following the coax. So, what's that stuff? It was all covered in Vaseline. It's been out there about a year now. That's fine. The only thing I would say on this is that the post terminals where you screw in are really small. So my fork connector keeps falling off because I've got giant fork connectors. I've got big hands. So I just wish it was in a bigger box. But I might phone him up and see if he'll do me a deal. With a PL25, an SO239, I'd like that as well. But enough of my waffling. Let's go down 80, 40, 20, 15 and 10 now. See how we got on and see what you think. Okay, here we go.
Anyway, conditions do seem to be changing, and the band is going up and down quite a bit with me. Back to you, Andy. Hopefully I didn't fade out altogether. From G0TNF.
20 Andy to G0TNF. Actually, Michael, you were a bit better than you were last time round, so yeah, we are getting a dodgy bit. Well, there you go, Michael. If you've got any left over, I've popped out the ball and have a look anyway. It's interesting thing to see. Yeah, we don't do the juicing at Acorn Bank anymore like we used to. There was, I think there's still a bit of Apple identification going on and things like that with Hillary Wilson, who still works a little bit there. But the National Trust are not really very easy people to work with, shall we say. They are, well, I believe it to be actually downright difficult. I'll tell you another time about certain thing that we do. that they market but can't sell or couldn't sell on the premises due to some design arcane National Trust rules. But now can happen because the gift shop is now a concession at Acorn Bank. It's mad. It's the world of quangos. Anyway, yeah. But this is a place called Moreland House, which is in Moreland, and I think it's a very short cycle ride for you, Michael. So there you go. Without any further ado, and this is definitely my last over, and I'll pass the microphone down to Rod G0IYQ, see if he's got anything to say to round it all off.
G0IYQ in the group. Yep. Okay, Andy. We put a box of a big box of apples in the shed, and they usually keep the last ones keep right through till next spring. So that's one way to do it. And we have pies and whatnot through the winter. And regarding apple poles for picking apples, we bought one last year, and this has like a pistol grip on the bottom with an extendable pole, slides up and down and locks and whatnot, and the top is like three curved fingers with rubber sleeves over, so you can poke your pole up into the apple tree, put it round an apple, squeeze the trigger, and it grips hold of the apple, and you just pull it off. Great it is. Really magic, so that's one way to do it. Right, I wish everyone best M3s. Jonathan, if you want to put in a request to join the receiver group, do that, and we'll sort that out in due course, and that'll be it. So, best M3s everyone, G0IYQ's clear.
So that was on 80. Now, I admit that I haven't done this in the middle of the night when 80 and 40 you've got DX, okay? So for some of us, that would be important. And I will do a live stream very late one night, 1, 2 in the morning our time, 7, 8, 9 o'clock USA, depending where you are. And we will have a play switching around on the DX, the real low angle stuff. But anyway, so let's play 40 now.
Calling CQ Rafaels and standing by. Nah, diddly squat. So it's up to you, Colin. It's a grotty day here. It really is. It's supposed to be getting a bit better later on anyway, and then clouding over again. I think there may be a bit of rain coming in early hours of tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to be. Saturday, I think, is going to be a bit of a wet one, but we'll find out that when we get there. G0. G0 VAR, in you come, Colin.
From G0VAR, thanks Colin. Well, not great this morning. I've been hunting around to see if I can find another SDR that's working, but so far no luck. 5 and 6 to 5 and 9. QSB's hitting you quite hard at this end. Mike, if you can hear me, good morning. GW4DWX. Steady-ish, but 4 and 5 to 5 and 5. There's just enough QSB there to take you up and down on my noise floor, but still about 80% copy. Robert, if you can hear me, good morning. Unfortunately, I got nothing direct from you. I thought I heard something, but there is a station coming up fairly strong on 7156, and I have a sneaking suspicion, Colin, he might have been there before we started. MW0OZI G0VAR.
Yeah, cheers for that, Colin. So when I did have a check, obviously, I didn't hear anything. Perhaps it might have been a pause, and somebody else lower in volume was talking, and I just didn't hear them at all. And in which case, my apologies. But at the moment, I can't hear anybody. I'm hoping we're keeping out of the way of them. I'm sure they will be as well. It just shows you how much you miss the SDR for finding a clear spot, doesn't it? Yeah, there's the old-fashioned way of doing it by listening, but you can't always be 100% certain if there's weak signals there. But we'll do our best, and as I say, if we are treading on someone's toes, our apologies. Right, Bob, G0SYF, MW0OZI, off you go.
Yeah, just a short pause. Noise level, I'm round about a 7. But yeah, I'm afraid you're still holding up a good 5 and 9 plus 5, Colin. Colin G0 VAR, a good 5 and 9 plus 5. GW4 Delta Whiskey X-ray Mike. Only a 4 and 6. Only a 4 and 6, Mike, but I can hear you. The problem was the adjacent channel noise. Exactly the same with the Robert. DW6 GBY. When allowed, you were 5 and 7, but not that brilliant this morning. But there you go. It's all that comes and goes, and yeah. As far as that.
Make your mind up, okay? I would say that little loop on the ground on 40 for the whatever that costs, £29. I don't know. You could make these for a £5, right? $5, you could make that. All you need is that little binocular cord thing, a little bit of copper wire, and you could make that, right? But for daytime use, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Now, as we start heading up the spectrum, you will find that 2015-10, a lot of the time the vertical actually wins. But I couldn't find any real DX apart from an alpha station in the US. But anyway, let's play 2015-10 and then we'll wrap this up. So here we go.
Delta Lima 2, Japan X-ray, Delta Lima 2, Japan X-ray, Delta Lima 2, ok, Eric 59 in log, ok?
Roger, buongiorno, grazie mille, molto bene, signore. 5 Frankfurt. Ciao, buona giornata, grazie.
Your signal also is very strong, ok? QRZ, Italy, connect 0, Romeo, Mike.
Sierra Papa 9, Charlie, Bravo, Mike. November.
Okay, Sierra Papa, just a second. November.
Oscar Kilo 1, America, November.
Oscar Kilo 1, America, November. Good morning, 5-9, Vladimir in log, ok?
Buona giornata, riporto 5-9, molto grazie, ciao.
Ciao, 73. Sierra Papa again.
Sierra Papa 9, Charlie, Bravo, Mike. Sierra Papa 9, Charlie, Bravo, Mike. What's that?
QSL Martin, Sierra Papa, Mika, okay. Sierra Papa 9, Charlie, Bravo, Mike, 5-9 in log, okay?
Roger, thank you. Rapport for you, 5-9. Of a very good, strong signal from Poland. Okay, thank you, good luck, 75.
You also are 5+, 9+, okay? Italy, Quebec, 0, Romeo, Mike, close up.
Sierra Papa 1, Tango, Juliet.
Juliet again.
Sierra Papa 1, Tango, Juliet.
Sierra Papa 1, Tango, Juliet. Sierra Papa 1, Tango, Juliet. Roger. You are 5-9 in log, okay?
Roger, you report also 5-9.
Thank you so much. This is Italy, Quebec 0, Romeo, Mike. All info on QRZ.com. QRZ.
Alpha 1, India Oscar.
A lot of QRM. Try again. Italy, Quebec.
Now, I don't believe that a loop on the ground is really designed for the upper end of HF. But it kind of works, all right? And I tell you what, on 15, sometimes it didn't, and this demonstration didn't work, but occasionally 15, the big loop is very occasionally better than a vertical. Well, let's play 15, see how we get on.
India 0, Alpha India Hotel. This is Alpha 62 Alpha.
Okay, Herb, you're 5-9 plus 10 here also. I won't load you up. Enjoy the pilot. Wish you a good day and best 7-3, Roger.
Roger, Mike. India 0, Alpha India Hotel from Alpha 62 Alpha 73 at
9 Alpha 7 Radio Alpha. 9 Alpha 7 Radio Alpha.
Something ending in radio alpha?
9 Alpha 7 Radio Alpha.
It's 9 Alpha 7 radio alpha, is that right?
Roger, Roger, 9 Alpha 7 Radio Alpha. Roger, Roger, you are 5 by 7. 5 by 7, over.
QS Delta 5 by 7, you are 5 by 5 with QS Baker, over.
Roger, Roger, thank you very much for QSO. Good luck, 73.
Thanks for the QSO, 7-3 and good DX.
And I just found one guy on 10. He was knocking around. I just had a little flick around. Now, the antenna I'm using on 10 is a 3/4 wave. Okay? Just to let you know, it's not actually a quarter wave. That's the only one. Everything else has been a quarter wave so far. Here we go.
Lima Zulu 1, Julia Zulu, QRZ. Papa Mike. Go for X-ray, Papa Mexico. Hello, nice to meet you. You're 59 and my name is Tony QSL. Okay, nice to talk with you. Thank you for the 59 from London. Wish you all the best. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Oscar Bravo? J3 RKB, nice to meet you. Thank you for the call. You're 59 and my name is Tony QSL.
It's one of those things where you need to spend hours having a play and having a listen. But my conclusion is as follows. The little loop on the ground for heavy QR, local QRM, static, fairy lights, next door neighbours, TV and all that stuff, for 40 metres in particularly, that little loop buried under the leaves works fantastic. But what I can say to you is that the myth of having your main transmit antenna as actually your main receive antenna, I just think reevaluate that. If for a home station, okay, because this is all about signal to noise ratio. Your radio has got plenty of oomph in terms of its receive capability, I absolutely promise you. So what we're trying to do is lower everything, right? Take the noise out of it and let your receiver with your preamp on do some of the hard work. Let's go back to the bunker and let's finish this off. All right, well, make your mind up, really. I would suggest if I had a little home station and a tiny backyard and maybe I had a vertical, just something simple, an antenna, I would also invest either making or building or buying this loop on ground, log, they call it. Right? I definitely would. And particularly for, 40 and 80, because if we think about this, this is actually all about signal to noise ratio, because our radio is really, really capable. It's got a preamp on it as well. By the way, all the times I played the vertical versus the loops, I switched the preamp off. I could have got a higher signal with a preamp on the vertical, but I thought it'd be unfair, right? So we've got this hash going on, and there's a signal in here, right? This signal which is hovering around there, we're trying to pick out. If we can dump the noise down and then still pick out the signal just above it, then, and that's our 0 point here, this is going to be much better because now we can just lift the signal up with our preamp and we leave the noise down there. That's the whole idea about this thing. Signal to noise is really important because a modern radio has got plenty of gain, I promise you. It's not like the old days. These modern radios, Kenwood, Jesus, Flexes, Icoms, whatever, plenty of gain. You don't need an outboard preamp. I thought I would need an outboard preamp. I just don't. Go and build one. Let me know how you get on. I've got no more receive loops to build, other than the fact I've got an inkling it would be nice. You can put 2 of these in phase. Okay, you need a bit of spacing. You bring your coax to a T-piece, and this we need to extend. I think there's this one here we need to lengthen. I think probably a quarter of a wavelength, something like that. Then this spacing's important too. And then what we can do is we can get more gain going in that direction. This page here discusses it, and I'll let you, I think it's this page. Yeah, this page here discusses how you can increase your front to back and you gain out the front and drop the noise down, and all of a sudden the real DX, you know, from Europe or from Japan or whatever, starts to come out. It all depends how much room you've got in the backyard and how much you're prepared to tinker. All right, next video's come up here. Hopefully that's been quite good fun. And if you join in on the live stream, I very often split your earphones. So if you plug your headphones in, you will actually hear the difference. All right, all the best now. Bye-bye.